All right, good evening. Welcome to the 2023 Prescott Hall of Fame banquet. Tremendous to see such a crowd. I mean, I think this is the largest turnout we've had in the 5 years. So thanks to everybody for coming, and I have to give credit to Steve Block for paying all these people to attend. So good. So I want to share a few thank yous before we start. I'm going to introduce or recognize current Hall of Fame members. And before I do that, I think it's important that we acknowledge the work of the people that put this together. And I need members of the Hall of Fame committee to please stand up and be recognized and give those people a big round of applause for all their work. And they did an enormous amount of work, and it takes a lot to put something like this on, so well done. We also have to acknowledge our student council. They were all, I thought they were great. They were all they all volunteered to be here tonight, because one of the things, I think it was several of the upperclassmen said, one of the things that I can't think would be more fun would be spending a Sunday night with teachers and adults. That's what, so they were all excited about being here. But let's give our student council a round of applause for their help. Great job. Also, I think he skedaddled out of here, and I feel bad about that. Mike Patak's fantastic. Always says, let's make it so Mike Patak over there at the store across the highway can hear us. Well done. And on the back of the program, there are a couple of other businesses too that help support this. I'm not going to read them to all of you, but again, it takes a lot of people to put an event like this on and have to be successful. So we appreciate all those people. The Prescott Journal, Larry M. from Prescott Cable is here. Fantastic. And the Garage Band, members of the music department, Mr. Canfield, give them a huge round of applause for them being here tonight. All right, I want to recognize some of our members of the Hall of Fame that are here tonight. I also, if I miss somebody, I apologize, and I shouldn't. Mike Patak, of course, 2016 inductee. He snuck out of here. But we have two inaugural inductees that are with us tonight. We have 2000 inductee Mary Beeler here. Let's give Mary Beeler. And another inaugural Hall of Fame inductee, Mr. Nick Johnson. Nick Johnson back here. Please raise your hand, Nick. Thank you. We have 2017 inductee, Mr. Dallas Eggers. Where is Mr. Eggers? Back over there. And we have Phyllis Hoffman, wife of Dick Hoffman, who was inducted in 2019. Phyllis Hoffman over there. And we have 2021 inductee, Shar McGee, that's also with us today. Okay, before I continue here, I'm going to call up our vice chair of the Hall of Fame committee, Mr. Jeremy Berg, who is a high school guidance counselor. He's going to talk a little bit about the nominating process. Not only is Mr. Berg a counselor here, but he was a former WIA baseball umpire. And again, I say heavy on the former. So, Jeremy Berg.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan, and that's a tough act to follow, but in the interest of time, I will keep this short and sweet. It's a great honor to be here tonight, to see this for the very first time. I didn't really know what to expect, but thank you for the committee members and setting up such a wonderful space to have such a wonderful event. The importance that the Prescott Hall of Fame covers not only extracurricular success, but also academic achievement outside of extracurriculars and also achievement in the area of service to our community. And I think that's very important. And so it really is a great honor for me to be a part of that, being sort of the newest member of this community, or one of the newer members. So I appreciate that, and it's a great honor. We do have some nomination forms over at the table. I know some people picked them up, and there is nomination forms online. It is important that we continue to nominate folks for this great honor. It continues the honor. It keeps the honor going into the future. I believe some of us were talking that the Hall of Fame board will need to be someday be bigger, and that all starts with nominations. So please nominate folks that fit these criterion for our Hall of Fame. And thank you, and have a wonderful evening.
Okay, a little bit about the process tonight. We're going to have, of course, each person speak, but before they speak, they are going to be introduced by someone, and after the inductee speaks, that's when we would like to present the plaque, okay? So either I or Mr. Berg will come on up and then present the plaque for the Hall of Fame. So again, it'll be nominating speech, inductee, then once the inductee is finished, then we will present the plaque, picture, picture, picture. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay, that's how it's going to work. All right. Our first inductee is Ryan Berg, graduate of Prescott High School when Richard Nixon was president. But that's not the only thing that is remarkable about his nomination. You know, I looked at his resume, and it was just unbelievable. The resume is just incredible, and I found myself looking and doing a double take, like double take after double take. It was just incredible, double take after double take. Kind of like some of you have felt whenever Bart or Brad Matzik offered to pick up the tab. So with that, I'd like to introduce 2016 Hall of Famer Mary Beeler, who will be giving the introductory remarks for Ryan Berg.
Takes me a while to get up there. Get situated, you're free to kick. Is this all? Am I hearable now? Well, good evening. The Berg and Beelers had 3 boys, all the same age, and they enjoyed having their mothers drive them to many parks for a day of fun. The favorite was Kinnickinnick, where they spent the day in the water in between eating. As the boys got older, they had jobs, graduated from Prescott, and went on to high school or work. Jen and I got together often and kept track of the boys and their families. One day, Jan said her son Ryan was a nationally and internationally recognized expert in the design and construction of reinforced concrete walls. What? So I thought I'd talk to Ryan and find out what he was doing. That all started at Prescott High School when he built a balsa wood bridge in physics class and entered it in the UW-Wisconsin Platteville Engineering Contest. He graduated from Prescott in 1974 and then from Platteville in 1978. and from Oregon State in 1982 with a master's degree in civil engineering. Where does concrete figure in this? Ryan was a pioneer in the use of geogrid soil reinforcement elements in retaining walls, steepened slopes throughout North America. Well, what is geogrid? It's a synthetic grid material used to reinforce soil and construct retaining walls, embankments on soft soils and pavements. Geogrids are supplied in rolled sheets that are unrolled and cut to design lengths during construction. Did I get that all right, Ryan? Ryan is the design engineer of record of the first precast concrete faced geogrid reinforced soil retaining walls in North America. He is president of Ryan Engineering and Design, now semi-retired. He has a list of memberships and awards from many engineering firms, has co-authored several reference books and approximately 80 technical conference papers, manuals, and magazine articles. Ryan is the son of Jan and the late Berg of Prescott. He lives in Woodbury with his wife Nancy, parents of 2 adult children, but he still calls Prescott his home. I am happy and proud to nominate Ryan Berg, a successful graduate whose distinguished career began with a physics class at Prescott High School. Thank you.
There's a cord down there.
And this is my daughter Helen, my right-hand man.
Well, thank you, Mary. I know a couple of firms are ready to help to hire you up to sell some of that GeoGrid now. First of all, I want to thank Mary for her nomination, and as you can tell from that introduction, she still is a tough interviewer, wants the facts, double checks the facts, and wants the reference material to read herself. I also want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for selecting me for this prestigious award. And I compliment Jeff Ryan, his committee, and all the others involved with the Hall of Fame program. And I trust that the program will inspire generations of Prescott High School students in many different directions. This recognition by Prescott High School of my professional accomplishments is a great honor that I will always treasure. I am fortunate to have had a very rewarding career in civil engineering, but how did I get started in civil engineering? Like a typical senior in high school, I decided, oh, I'm going to go to college, sounds like fun, and it was. But I didn't really think too much about a major, and one day the counselor, Mr. Tim at that time, stopped me and asked me, well, you should sort out what you're going to major in. Okay. He goes, what are you interested in? What do you like to do? What sort of classes do you like? And I said, well, I like the outdoors. I like building things. And as far as classes, I like math class. So he came back and said, well, you should be a civil engineer. And I said, okay, that sounds good. But I'd never met a civil engineer. I didn't have any idea what a civil engineer did. But I graduated from Prescott. I went down to University of Wisconsin-Platteville and studied civil engineering. First thing I found out was that it's a very challenging curriculum. The first week on campus, there are 2 things that still stick in my mind. The first is the realization that engineers need to have 156 semester credits to graduate. Everybody else only needed 128 credits to graduate. So, first. The second thing I remember is the dean of engineering sitting down addressing all of the incoming freshman engineers and telling us to look to the person to your right, look to the person at your left. In 4 years, there's only going to be one of you 3 left in this program. So it had a high attrition rate in that curriculum. Thankfully, I was up to the challenge. I survived my freshman year, and I thrived on the program of study the rest of the 3 years. I am very fortunate to have had a very rewarding career in civil engineering, specifically in geotechnical engineering. I've spent the bulk of my career in design and construction with new and emerging geotechnical products and techniques. So fairly cutting edge materials, but practical materials that are going to get used. And the bulk of my work over the last 30 years has been with the Federal Highway Administration, where myself and my team authored or new manuals or updated old manuals, reference manuals for the geotechnical engineering program for the federal highways that were used throughout the United States and all 52 districts of transportation departments and throughout the world. And my firm has updated more than 24 of those reference manuals, which comes out to about 13,000 pages. So a lot more writing than I was ever planning to do. But all of my achievements in geotechnical engineering, of course, can be traced back to my upbringing in Prescott. When I reflect back on what Prescott schools and community instilled into me, there are 4 key traits that come to mind that have driven my professional work, and several people to thank for those traits. First of all is being well educated. I'm a product of the Prescott schools, from St. Joseph's Elementary to Prescott Junior High, which at my time, I guess in the time of Nixon, was housed with the high school at the now old high school building down on Elm Street. And then Prescott High School, which is now the old high school building, where I was a member of the first year incoming freshman class to that building. So I have numerous people to thank for this education trait. The first is my mother and father, Jan and Bob Berg, for their educational guidance, and particularly for their example of being avid readers and curious lifelong learners. My scout leader, Fred Dravis, for his outdoor skills and environmental education. Third, I thank all of my teachers at Prescott schools, particularly the math and science teachers that prepared me for engineering. Those teachers who inspired me the most were my junior high math teacher, Mrs. Butcher, which is really a great name if you're a junior high teacher. She ran a very tight classroom. My high school math teacher, Mr. Hayes, my high school physics teacher, Mr. Bundage, again, Mr. Tim, for setting me on my path to becoming a civil engineer. And if I'd had any idea how much technical writing I'd be doing, I would have an English teacher or 2 on this list, but I didn't know. The second trait is being hardworking. And of course, hardworking is key to having a successful career, and it's a key to anything you do. Again, I thank my parents, and I'll add my maternal grandmother to the list for instilling a strong work ethic in me and my siblings. Instill, that's a nice way to say they made us work if we wanted something. And I thank many of my classmates. When you go to school with a lot of dairy farmers, you understand have a much better understanding of what hard work really is. The third key trait is being honest. And honesty in a profession or in business really translates into ethics at that point in professional work. And it's really vital to being a successful engineer and entrepreneur. As a professional engineer, ethics is essential because we all pledge to protect and safeguard the public in our work. And for an engineering business where your personal reputation is paramount, ethics is extremely important. And unfortunately today, one can readily see what the lack of ethics produces by looking at some of our politicians, judges, and lawyers. So again, I thank my parents for this trait of honesty, and I would be remiss not to also thank those nuns that taught me at St. Joseph's Elementary School. The fourth trait that really has fueled my my career is being adventuresome and curious, being willing to try something new, to go somewhere else. My career path, I always follow new opportunities. So from Prescott to Platteville to St. Louis to Oregon to Phoenix to Atlanta, and then finally back to the Twin Cities to raise our children and to start my own engineering business. So I followed new opportunities in emerging geotechnical materials and construction techniques. And this also gave me this being curious has given me a lifelong hobby and lifelong passion for foreign travel. So for that trait, I thank all of my Prescott history and geography teachers. I thank my parents for those road trips out west and new experiences growing up that fueled the fire in me to travel and explore the world. And I thank Mary Beeler and my mother for their Beeler-Berg local expeditions with their children. And Kenny Kinnick sticks in her mind. In my mind, one of the good outings was when we went to Prescott Island. Has everybody here ever been on Prescott Island? Oh, okay, so yeah, you have to go out and explore Prescott Island. So those are the 4 key traits I left Prescott with, and they're really crucial for a successful professional engineering career, and those who are significant in schooling those traits into me. My career, of course, would not have been so varied and successful without the support and encouragement of my wife, Nancy, and my children, Riley and Hallie. I thank them for all their support and sacrifices for a husband, father, who spent many nights and days out on the road on business. Nancy was the instigator of our move to Oregon for both of us to go to graduate school. She studied marine biology, and that's where I studied the civil engineering specialty of geotechnical engineering. Nancy is an exceptional multitasker. She juggled her career as a high school science teacher, mothering, being the bookkeeper of the engineering business with all of my work demands and schedules. Thank you. Again, I'm very flattered by this Hall of Fame induction and to join the distinguished list of Prescott citizens and graduates that are members of the Hall of Fame. And I have one last thing I'd just like to note. Again, I'm very grateful for my education experiences here at Prescott and at Platteville. And with that in mind, although unrelated to this Hall of Fame program, I am pleased to announce that an endowed scholarship has been established for graduating seniors from Prescott that will attend UW-Platteville. This scholarship award will be available starting with the class of 24, which is exactly 50 years from my graduation and Richard Nixon. The goal of the scholarship is to encourage more Prescott High School students to look at and to attend UW-Platteville. The university is often overlooked, but it has several outstanding programs, particularly in engineering and in agriculture. I hope to encourage some Prescott students to start out a career path similar to mine. Thank you.
Have you do the official induction? Stand over here. So officially inducting Ryan Berg into the Prescott Hall of Fame. Okay, our second inductee is Steve Block. Before I introduce Mr. Bart Matzik, I was trying to figure out what I was going to say about Coach Block. I was given lots of suggestions, lots of them. Some I could share, others I could not. But this week, I got something early in the week in the mail. I got a letter from somebody who said, I got an idea for how you could introduce Steve Block. So this is a letter right here. And I'm going to read, I thought it was pretty good. So I'm going to read verbatim, if I can get this thing open, what this person said. And again, I'll introduce Bart here in a second, but this is what, I thought, hey, this is pretty good. So I was asked to read this note. And I thought, yeah, this fits. Congratulations to Steve Block on his induction into the Prescott Hall of Fame. His great career included multiple conference championships and 5 trips to the state tournament. His Prescott coaching career culminated with a state championship in 1994. Tonight, we salute the brains of the 1994 state championship team, Steve Block, sorry. Bart Mapsick, introducing Steve Block.
Thank you, Jeff. And by the way, I know whose tab I'm not picking up tonight. So I'm a lifetime resident and graduate of Prescott High School. Tonight, I have the distinct honor of recognizing Coach Steve Block for induction into the Prescott Hall of Fame. My first exposure to Coach Block was in 4th grade at St. Joe's in the early 1980s. I was maybe 10 years old. He volunteered to be the grade school basketball coach. I stumbled across a picture a few years ago of that team, and I looked at all the faces. We all have our white uniforms on, our socks hiked all the way up to our knees, our short shorts. Looked like one of those pictures out of the movie Hoosiers. I recall seeing Steve standing in the back row, wearing these big, thick-rimmed glasses, full head of hair, way more than he's got right now. He's got the sideburns cooking, and he didn't have any kids or family on the team at all. So I'm looking at this picture and I'm thinking to myself, they actually let this guy coach a team of Catholic boys. And I'm thinking to myself, he doesn't know anybody on this team, but yet he's coaching us. Times have certainly changed. So it's easy to look at all the accolades, the awards that Coach Block has accomplished, the conference championships, the regional championships, the sectional championships, state championships. He's already a member of the Wisconsin Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. These are all the tangible things that we can all see and have recognized him for. To me, it's really easy to overlook the things that you can't see. Those are the things that I want to call out and highlight about Coach Block. He has made a huge impact on his community and the hundreds of individuals that he has touched throughout the baseball and basketball coaching career. I graduated from high school in 1989. Coach Block started his high school coaching career in Prescott just a few years before that. I have very vivid memories of those first years with him in the program. One of the first things he did was get the community involved. Our field looked like a playground from the movie Sandlot. It was brutal. We had a 10-foot chain link fence for a dugout with a single bench in the back of it. You had players' girlfriends walking behind us and everything else going on. It was just wide open. The pitching mound was probably illegal. It was just a clump of black dirt. Infield really wasn't shaped that well, and there's holes all over the place. One of the first things he did was to rally the parents together and renovate the field, making everyone feel like they were a part of the team. It was a lot of work, but an opportunity to build relationships with parents and players, making them all feel like they had some stake in the team. His passion, enthusiasm, and energy were very noticeable in everything he did, whether it be practice or games. For those of you that really know Coach Block, we've all had some sort of exposure to the energy that he brings. Very boisterous. You'll hear in just a few minutes about that and witness it. But I love that energy and enthusiasm. It keeps everyone on their toes. And I'm sure there's times it got you in trouble too. Steve always treated his players with respect. Very tough, but caring. We all need a little guidance and structure. He provided that to us. He was very clear in his expectations, and we all wanted to understand our role, even those of us on the bench, and I was one of those until my senior year. Understanding when we made mistakes, none of us tried to fail, but when we did, he worked with us to fix it and improve it. He also put a lot of time into developing the program. His involvement with the youth programs, coaching kids, myself included, in the summer months at youth tournaments. We traveled out of town, sometimes staying in the basement of churches. with the team. Those are all great memories that me and my former teammates still talk about to this day. He works with kids. He continues to work with kids, both boys and girls, on the fundamentals in providing hitting lessons. He's helped us in softball develop coaches, hitting clinics. He's run hitting clinics for our youth softball coaches. We have videos and drills that are still used in our practices. And we even use those at the high school level today. I'll never forget his line, and I still use it to this day. Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. You should see the looks on the kids' faces when I hear that line. They get it, just like we did. Most importantly, I'd like to recognize the time he put in to build this program. Yes, this is a tremendous and most appreciated time commitment for his teams and the community. And with that, his family was gracious enough to allow us to spend that time with him throughout his coaching career. So I want to say thank you to Elise, Pat, Jeff, Charlie, Joe, and Tom for allowing us to have the most of Steve's time. So all these things have created a template for success. It starts with Coach Block. It went through our players on the field. It continues to your former players and to their kids, myself included. It transpires into a winning model and formula for other programs in our community. It's not only baseball that's been successful, but it's also transitioned into softball, basketball, and anything else that he's been involved with. So Steve, the underlying theme here is you have made a tremendous impact on me and others you have coached or mentored. So without further ado, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you into the Prescott Hall of Fame.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to spend a little more time looking at my sheet than Ryan. Ryan, you're good. You're a tough act to follow. And I want to congratulate you and Jaci, the family of Jaci. I mean, what she accomplished with the dance team and what you've accomplished in the educational aspects of what came out of this school and professionally for you is really amazing. I want to thank the committee, the Hall of Fame committee, for putting in the time and effort to really do this thing the right way, and this event is really amazing. Now to put on the cheaters so I don't... There's some Hall of Fame members that I kind of want to mention, former ones. Bernie Lepley, I'll talk about him in a little bit. Dick Hoffman, who was my AD for a long time, who was a great coach and principal here, and one of my daughter-in-law's grandfather, which is pretty cool. Doc Laney brought my wife in the world, got to be happy with him. And Doc Laney, I found out when I got into town, was my grandfather's first cousin. And Doc Laney would sit with Ruffy Miola, Wink Wolf, and all those guys on the bench. Over by the concession stand, my mom's maiden name was Mowry. And he said it took a Mowry to come back, to get things rolling in Prescott. So Doc Laney was pretty cool. Two former players in the Hall of Fame, Nick Johnson. Played, had the privilege of coaching him through junior year until I left, and kind of our only professional player. And now until we have Petey that played some professional baseball, and he was just look what he's done here at town. Nick Schumer, who was our first guy to go play professional football with the Titans, had the privilege of coaching him. And then the last Hall of Fame member I want to mention is my mother-in-law, Kay Harris. If you remember her, she was quite an institution as an English teacher, and I wonder what she's thinking tonight. There are numerous people that I would like to recognize tonight. First off, my family, and I don't want you to stand up, but I do want people, if they don't know you, to know you. My biggest supporter and suggestion giver, my wife Elise. As you heard Bart mention, and I'll just have them when the time raise their hand, Pat, Jeff, Charlie, Joe, and Tom. My reason for not just introducing them, but all of them had the privilege of playing for their father in some manner, shape, or form. And I do want to say this, I was pretty demanding on them. I didn't want their teammates to think that I showed them favoritism over the years. So they had it a little bit tougher than most of the other guys. I also want to, my awesome daughter-in-laws, and if it wasn't for my daughter-in-law, Katie, holy cow, Wayne Dinger, isn't it? Whoa. She took me shopping for it. But if my daughter-in-laws would raise their hand quick. And my grandchildren, would you please stand? Because I didn't know about these T-shirts. Go ahead, give a stand there. The ones that could come. So, yeah, we've been blessed for 13 grandchildren, and it's been amazing. I've been able to work with them a little bit, and my granddaughter, Ellie, now it's 7 and 6, so we're waiting to see if it's boys rule. The girls are still a little behind. It all started in 1984 when Bernie Lepley, the superintendent here, asked me if I would be interested in coaching Prescott High School baseball. Bernie knew of my time coaching the Prescott Babe Ruth League teams of the 80s, and Bernie knew of my coaching years in lacrosse. Plus, I can't even imagine the St. Joe's. Those are some stories. Wow. And Bernie knew of my years, doing officiating. Bernie at that time was the president of the WIAA executive board. And we had a little meeting, and it wasn't even a come to Jesus. If you really knew Bernie, I'm paraphrasing right now, he said, don't screw this up. So if you know Bernie, it was probably a little bit more than that. He reminded me that I was the first non-certified teacher to be a head coach in Western Wisconsin. Now, the only reason for me bringing that up is I think teachers are the number one line that it should be, but unfortunately nowadays there's so many sports, so many things that are up there that it doesn't automatically qualify them to be the best coach there is now. If a non-certified teacher has a teacher's passion for helping, I think that's an opportunity, and luckily I didn't screw that up. A few years ago, I retired as a baseball coach. I was asked to speak at the annual CAP company. My only reason for bringing it up, instead of making this a history of Prescott baseball class tonight, I did give a speech. I had slides, etc., and it's on Larry, you know this, on the Prescott Community Television. You can get it on the internet and stuff, and instead of wasting your time, if you really want to watch it, it's about 50 minutes, and it shows those wonderful field that we had in 1985 to go along with it. Excuse me. There are many people over the years that that assisted me and that I do want to recognize a little bit here. Please wait until after I'm done, and then you can applaud for him. My brother-in-law, Bob Harris, he helped coach the Babe Ruth League teams right when I started, took over the Prescott High School thing. Joe Brookshaw helped when he was done with his high school career. When he went to college at UW River Falls, he helped with the high school team. Ron Murphy was the varsity assistant in the late 80s, and he was really young. And he was the lone assistant in our first trip to the state tournament in Wausau in 1988. He also told me, excuse me, that if I ever got kicked out, he was walking off the field and wouldn't stay there. And came close one time, but it didn't happen. Roger Hendrickson was an assistant during the 90s. Rob Gutting and Tom Jones assisted us. John Schumer was a longtime assistant coach throughout the 90s. He was our catching coach, JV coach, and outstanding summer coach. We would not have had the success we did without John's player development skills. Brad Matzik was an outstanding player at Prescott, and then our pitching coach after being on the Division III national championship team at Oshkosh, along with Brent Patridge. Find my place here. Jeff Ryan came on board as the assistant coach after being hired as a social studies teacher in 1990. Jeff had an outstanding baseball career at UW-Eau Claire. We collaborated on some great teams in the 1990s. What a career as an assistant for 9 years and now the past 25 years as a Cardinal head coach. He is a Wisconsin Hall of Fame baseball coach and a shoo-in as a Prescott Hall of Fame inductee in the future. Not only was and is he a tremendous coach, but maybe more importantly, he's a great teacher. Would you please recognize these people? Right around the time I started coaching in Prescott, there was a youth sports organization called the PYAA, Prescott Youth Athletic Association. There were a number of people that really helped out, and some are even here tonight. Mitch Pedersen, Jim Messler, Dave Larson, Dave Patridge, Jackie Riley, John Schumer, Dennis Gagnier. They started kind of all that youth thing before we have our current program, and they were really instrumental in us having success in the 90s. From very early on, I had high expectations of our players, and I expected the players to care as much as I did. I had a passion for helping players to reach their potential. In reflection of my years coaching, one of my strengths, I had plenty of weaknesses, but one of my strengths was attention to detail and preparing our players to compete intensely. I absolutely loved practice planning and figuring new ways to teach the skills necessary to be successful. The players easily heard my loud instructions. I was certainly not a wallflower. The first breakthrough in qualifying for the state tournament was in 1988. What a thrill it was to be the first team in a WIA team sport to go to a state championship tournament. Nothing compares to that first time. If you could have seen the look on our players' faces as we turned that last corner and they could see Wausau's athletic park field with its ivy-covered fences for the first time, it was pretty emotional. It seemed like half of Prescott traveled to Wausau. When we won our semifinal game on a Wednesday morning, it was 80+ degrees. By the time we played for the state championship, in the evening, a cold weather front came and temperature had dropped into the 50s. I think the team and fans bought every nylon spring jacket there was in the city of Wausau in every color there was. And I'll tell you what, our fans from Prescott outnumbered everybody, and it was an amazing event. After the 88 season, and we didn't win that last game, after the 88 season, I traveled to La Crosse for a week of collaboration with the La Crosse Central high school baseball coaches. I wanted to pick their brains for the techniques and coaching culture that they had there, and Central was playing for state championships almost every year back in those days in 85 against Stevens Point, et cetera. And some of the things we got out of there, I think it really changed the history of Prescott baseball. Coach Ryan and I have talked about this a number of times, but there were things that came out of that whole deal that we learned, and for those of you that don't know baseball that well, but we changed kind of in this whole area how to defense and offensively run first and third plays during a game. We found out a way to manufacture runs. Our bunt game was really outstanding, and through the craziness of it all, I came up with a sign system where there were 18 signs. Can you imagine a high school kid wanting to learn and memorize 18 signs? But we did find a way. We also got pretty good at holding runners and pitcher pickoffs, and I'm proud of the fact that we could compete with any team in the state, whether they were more talented or not. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about. In 1990, so 88, we went. In 90, we went and we got beat in the semifinals in extra innings. Brad Matzik was our pitcher that day, and he held the state record at our division for strikeouts for many, many years. I don't know if he still does. He still does. So what was it, 15? How many was it? 17. Brad, where are you? You're here someplace. Raise your hand. I saw you before. Don't get embarrassed. In 1992, we lost to Columbus, and that may have been one of our most talented teams. Some things just didn't work out that day. We got beat by Columbus, and I really think we had the best team. What coach doesn't want to? In 1994, the Cardinals won their first ever state championship in a WIA-sponsored team sport. It's hard to believe it was 30 years ago. This is our 30th anniversary right now, and I know Dusty's working on it, and we have a get-together, and to tie it in with Coach Ryan, we'll have one for this year. After taking a lead line bus for the first 3 state tournaments, we decided to take a school bus. We wanted the focus to be on playing there and really competing instead of just the thrill of going to the state tournament. We won a semifinal game against Hortonville 4-3. It was an exciting game. The turning point in the state championship game came a few innings into the game when we were trailing Jefferson High School by a few runs. We had runners at first and third. Imagine that. And our foreign exchange player, Alejandro Gaetan from Mexico, actually got the wrong sign. But he ran what we call a trip play, where he fell down on purpose between first and second base to confuse the other team. It worked beautifully. Both runners scored eventually. The play triggered a scoring barrage. The Prescott Cardinals are still in the WIA baseball record book for scoring the most runs in any championship game, as we defeated Jefferson 24-3. My last season as head coach in Prescott was I want to go back. In 2012, the other state championship, it was an important first and third offensive situation that helped to bring the second baseball state championship. Where are we here? I was hired to coach UW Falls in the fall of '98. The college program was dropped after the 2002 season, along with 2 other men's sports relating to Title IX concerns, which have been resolved, and they're bringing back baseball next year. At the time, then I was recruited by Ellsworth High School to coach their baseball team. At that time, they played summer high school baseball, so there was no worry about or fear of playing against Prescott. So I was Coach Ryan's assistant for a year and a half, 2 years, and then I coached the Legion team in town. But unfortunately, then Ellsworth went to spring baseball, and we'll leave that for another day. During the time that I coached in Ellsworth, I continued to coach high school football in Prescott, and then volunteered to assist with the girls' high school program in Prescott. My first year, Ron Murphy talked me into taking the 9th grade girls team. Can you imagine that? So it was quite the experience for those girls. I thought I had really toned it down. I mean, I thought I was Mr. Wonderful. In fact, I wore a shirt later on in that year that said Mr. Wonderful on the front. If you ask them, they didn't think so. But all of a sudden, we'd be running a drill, and one of them would be crying. I'm going, really? There's nothing I did that would make you, really should cry. Remind me of Tom Hanks in League of Your Own when there's no crying and, in baseball. I want to thank all of my baseball parents in Prescott for trusting me with their sons and allowing me to coach my way. They didn't always understand my methods of coaching, but they didn't interfere either, even with my long practices. It's tougher nowadays. Any of the modern coaches know it's really different. They really did allow that trust factor to come in. Not all of my players agreed with my coaching style. I do believe they knew how much I cared and how much I loved them all. Sometimes my former players exact some revenge. As you might imagine, by them I am roasted mercilessly in group settings for my many sayings and quirks. For the past 6 years, I've helped my son Jeff as a bench coach and batting practice pitcher with UW-Madison Club baseball team. I absolutely help Loving out. Interestingly, I'm called Papa Block by the college players. I want to thank all my friends that have attended this evening and for those that have traveled here to honor me and my family. My hope, and this is really true, and I've got a few people helping. I want to produce a podcast sometime in the not too distant future with stories of the players, ex-players, and coaches from my time. As I think it'd be a fun history thing for everybody, and I'm sure it would be somewhat hilarious. But that's something we've got planned. At this time, I'd like to, because there's quite a few of them here, would all the players that I've had the opportunity to coach, would they please stand? I'm so proud of my ex-players. I'm proud of the men, fathers, and citizens they've become. In closing, it's not the wins and losses that will be remembered. It's the history of our relationships and our friendships with our teammates. It's the hard work they put in. It's the stories from our games and seasons that will be remembered. And I really I thank you all for listening to me out. Appreciate it. Thank you.
We welcome Mr. Steve Block into the Prescott Hall of Fame.
I'm glad you didn't.
Our third inductee is Jaci Kosin. I'm going to share something here that's really, really important to me, and I think those who know me, at least as a teacher, that understand over my 35 years, there's been one thing that I've always really, really stressed with students, especially recently, and Mr. Berg kind of spoke to this too, about the importance of being a good human being. And I think that's really an important thing. And I think we always have to remember how we treat each other. We have to be kind to one another. And not enough people, I think, meet that standard. But our next inductee certainly met that standard. And I have a quick little anecdote that I have to share. This next week, Prescott students, for the 22nd time, will be going up to the Lac du Flambeau Indian Reservation to learn, like we've been doing for over 2 decades. And there's a couple people in the audience that have had that experience and know how important it is to me. And I know that there's teachers and staff members and community members know how much that program is. But one of the people that certainly knew how important that was Jaci Kosin. And I want to share this anecdote. One of the things, of course, we always go in the fall, but Jaci Kosin would always encourage her dancers, if I had them in class, to apply for it. Always. Even if during the trip there was a home game. And that happened a couple times, where you had varsity dancers. And I'm not saying anything negative about any dancers now, but I'm just trying to give you an idea of Jaci, because I think it kind of encapsulates her. So there were varsity dancers, seniors, juniors, and seniors who applied to go on the trip, and the committee chose them, and Jaci was the first person to applaud them and to pat them on the back, and how excited she was for them to have that awesome opportunity. And as a teacher, that meant a great deal to me for Jaci to support that program. And I know it meant a lot to the girls too, so I think that kind of encapsulates the kind of person we're talking about here with Jaci Kosin. There's a lot of dancers here, and I'll tell you what, I'm very, very happy that Jaci is being inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I'll step aside and I'll allow Kim Hoff to come forward before Greg Kosin will speak on Jaci's behalf.
Hello, I am so honored to be asked to speak here tonight and to share my nomination of Jaci Kosin. I'm certain you all know Jaci as the sweet, kind, generous woman that Prescott is lucky to call their own. Beautiful wife, mother, sister, daughter, friend, and coach of the iconic Prescott dance team. But I'd like to share a little bit about the impact she has had beyond this community. Jaci had a huge role in the Wisconsin dance world, and her impact on the sport is immeasurable. Jaci's coaching style and her high level of sportsmanship has had a lasting effect on the Wisconsin dance team community and elevated the sport in so many ways. Please allow me to relay several examples of how Jaci impacted not only the dancers under her leadership, but coaches and dancers throughout the entire state and beyond. Jaci Kosin put Prescott dance on the local, state, and national radar. She ran an incredible program, the perfect combination of technique and heart, hard work, talent, and pure love for the sport and her athletes. Her teams were polished, innovative, and flawless. At dance competitions both locally and nationally, when Prescott took the floor, spectators flooded in to watch them perform. They were, and still are, truly in a league of their own. Back in 1996, as a young and brand new dance coach of the Hudson dance team, I had dreams of maybe competing someday with my team. After getting connected with Prescott dance alumni Stacy Rice for help with choreography, she suggested that I connect with Jaci, suggesting that Jaci would be happy to help and explain the process and answer any questions that I might have. I had no idea what I was doing. None. Reaching out to Jaci for advice that day changed the trajectory of the Hudson dance team program, and it was the best decision I ever made. Sorry. Jaci quickly took me under her wing, guiding me through the ins and outs of competitive dance. I was scared and inexperienced, but Jaci kept encouraging me, cheering me on, convincing me that I could do this. Many meetings, dinners, and phone calls later, I was able to launch my own competitive program. As we worked our way up the competitive ladder, no one was a bigger cheerleader for me and my team than Jaci. Our friendship continued for years, and she continued to be my biggest supporter and confidant. I recently came across all of the emails we exchanged during those years, and I just sat and wept at her generosity and encouragement of me and my athletes. Jaci and her team would sit on the sidelines and cheer us on, which meant the world to me and my team and their families and the community of Hudson. I'm so proud to say that the Hudson dance team was the first recipient of the WACPC Jaci Kosin Sportsmanship Award. Jaci's legacy lives on, as this award is given out each year in her honor, to honor teams that reflect Jaci's encouraging, supportive attitude. When I'm faced with a tough coaching decision to this day, I often ask myself, WWJD, what would Jaci do? Her influence lives on through the many lives she touched, all the dancers she coached, many who went on to coach as well, continuing Jaci's legacy. Most of what I learned as a dance team coach, I learned from Jaci Kosin. She helped me to start and build my program into what it is today, a state champion dance team. She selflessly helped me and so many others take the sport of dance to the next level. She is well known as one of the most influential people in the Wisconsin dance community. To this day, Prescott dance team is synonymous with excellence. Prescott should be so very proud, as she has represented the city with the utmost respect, sportsmanship, kindness, and class, and so have her athletes. Jaci's legacy lives on in ways she never could have imagined it would. It is for these reasons and so many more that I'm so grateful that Jaci was chosen to be inducted into the Prescott Hall of Fame. Thank you so much for giving me the honor to be a part of this special event.
Thank you for them kind words, Kim. Our family would like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for inducting Jaci in the 2023 Hall of Fame. I would also like to congratulate Mr. Ryan Berg, Mr. Steve Block, for their induction into the Hall of Fame also. I would like to say thank you to the three ladies who wrote the beautiful letters of recommendation for Jaci. Brianne Poliak, who's in the back there, who was on the Prescott, her first team, Prescott State Championship team. She danced for 4 years, and she's still dancing today. In fact, she dances tomorrow at the Phipps. Samantha Marks, who was also on the Prescott High School State Championship team for 4 years, and has been coaching the Prescott, the current team, for the last 10 years. Kim Hoff, who just spoke, was one of Jaci's dearest friends and has been coaching the Hudson dance team since it started, with multiple state championships and a national championship. Without these letters, we wouldn't be honoring Jaci today, so thank you. I would like to also thank Jaci's sister, Julie. She was instrumental in getting all the information that was needed for the nomination form and anything else that the committee needed. When Jeff Ryan called me, and told me that Jaci was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, I got home and I started doing some research. I look who's been inducted in the past: Roy Finley, Richard Hoffman, Shar McGee, Mary Beeler, Kay Harris, Bernie Lepley, Doc Laney, and Mike Patak, just to name some of the previous inductees. These people have been great community leaders, educators, and role models for all of us. It will be an honor for our families to have Jaci inducted with this group of people. I had lost a lot of sleep thinking what I was going to say about Jaci tonight. You can ask my wife. I knew what I wanted to say, but I just couldn't find the words to make it make sense. I went back and read the 3 nomination letters from Bree, Sam, and Kim. And at that moment, I decided these 3 letters say it all. So I put their names in a cap, pulled out one, and it happened to be Samantha Marks. A great letter. So I'm going to read her letter, because she did it a lot better than what I could do. My name is Samantha Marks. I've had the privilege of coaching the Prescott High School varsity dance team for the last 10 years. I appreciate your time and energy and all that goes into this induction process for the Hall of Fame. I was incredibly honored to be asked to state my piece for Ms. Jaci Kosin's nomination. The Prescott dance team has earned the most conference championships, regional championships, state appearances, and championships over any other athletic program in Prescott history. Each and every year when I'm asked for comments on our seasons from Prescott or Pierce County newspaper sports columnists, I always attribute our successes to our program history. Please don't misunderstand me here. Just because one becomes a young member of the Prescott dance team certainly does not mean they will be inadvertently successful. Absolutely not. Our consistency, discipline, and level of achievements are never a given, but an expectation. This expectation was inaugurated by Jaci many years ago and continue to be a backbone of our program. Of course, Jaci believed in consistent hard work and disciplined dedication, but she always focused on the importance of being an excellent teammate. She believed in building confident leaders, but also creating friendships strong enough to last a lifetime. She taught the importance of learning from losses and how to humbly celebrate successes. She saw potential in every dancer, gave her whole self to the journey of helping young women grow, not only in athletics, but as students, daughters, community leaders, and young leaders. Our excellent program started with excellent coaching. Jaci set the standard of excellence right here in Prescott. Her excellence was sought after. Other high school dance programs came to her for advice, encouragement, and experience. She poured her heart and soul in her coaching role, touching the lives of so many young dancers, not to mention the impact her legacy has had and will continue to have on all that have the opportunity to be part of Prescott Dance. Whether they are a coach, dancer, parent, fan, or community member, their experience with the Prescott Dance was influenced by Jaci's legacy in some way. Us coaches that had come after Jaci's era were given the incredible responsibility of not only ensuring that the empire that is Prescott Dance continues to thrive, but also the great responsibility of living up to Jaci's legacy as a coach. And the fact that one can count the number of head coaches this dance program has seen from start to finish on one hand, it's certainly for a reason. We can so easily nurture the strong roots that have been planted for us. It was Jaci who planted these roots for us from the start. Thank you, Samantha. Before I go, I'd like to share with you Jaci's successes as a coach for her team and what she has achieved as a coach. Conference championships, 1996 to 2005. And I'd like to add something to that. After Jaci, we had Carrie Haig, Tristina Tim, Katie Vorthroms, Samantha Marks. They've had 27 straight conference championships. WACPC, that's the Wisconsin State Dance Organization. They were regional champions from 1996 to 2005. They were state champions from 96 to 98, and then again in 2000 to 2005. They were UPA national championships in 2001, 2003, and 2005. I'd like to share what Jaci achieved as honors as being a head coach. She was inducted into the UPA Hall of Fame in 2002. In 2004, they voted her one of the top 5 coaches in the nation. In 2005, she was the Coach of the Year in the WACPC. As Kim mentioned, in 2006, they created an award in Jaci's name, the Jaci Kosin Sportsmanship Award. It's for dance and cheer, and Hudson was one of the first teams to receive that award. There we go. I would like to thank all the friends and family for coming tonight, honoring Steve, Jaci, and Ryan. Have a safe drive home. Thank you very much.
Inducting Jaci Kosin into the Prescott Hall of Fame.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Let's have one more round of applause for our three inductees.